Welcome, guys. It's the Market Sniper. We try again, we go again. We'll keep coming, and we'll keep coming. We've got a message for you and we want you to hear it. How are you doing? How are you doing? Glad to be with you. Tell us where you're checking in from as you come in. And we appreciate the hit up of the likes to reboost the algorithm. Because why? We're being attacked. We can't stream. Okay, so I promised you an update on the debt markets, why the September-October debt-based crash is certainly on the way. I'm going to be talking US debt markets, UK debt markets, what that means for gold. I'm going to be talking gold. Yes, it is a reserve asset change for a fake, phony 40-year bull market reserve asset in lieu of the eternal reserve asset that is, in fact, gold. I'll be talking about that, and we'll take you to the gold, silver, and platinum charts right here in the stream. Hit the like, hit us a share, help us. This stream is going. And we are winning. So tell us where it is. That you're checking in from. Also, what I will be doing is I'm going to tell you about Real World Asset Tokenization, that image that got attached with the link. Why the hell that is your big danger. Gold and silver merch, guys, when I told them this 3 or 4 years ago, they booed and shouted and said a doomer, and all you need to do is buy your bullets, guns, and gold, and that they don't, you'll just become rich off that they don't have a plan for you. I'll be going deeper into that. We've alluded to it before in terms of tokenization of real world assets being targeted, real estate and gold. That's right. They start with the real valuable stuff. It'll later be your car, right down to your little e-bike and your tricycle and everything else. But first, they start with the big stuff. First, it'll be optional and cool. And hey, it's going to be so convenient and safe and all of that. Then it becomes compulsory. That's where it's going to be going. Doha, Qatar, joining us from Canada, Phoenix, Australia, New Zealand, London, Hampton Court was there not so long ago. Miami, Florida, he's up early, Cape Town. Laka Nikap, hello from Brazil. Glad to have you all. Hit those likes. Let's show you those charts. Let's get with it. Let's not waste your time after being buggered around there. Let's go. Share screen. We're going to share screen this time so you can see as well. We keep getting more generous, don't we? Okay. So the US 30-year, we're going to go straight in. Long end US debt markets. Here you are with me right now. 10-year US debt markets. Now, you might note that there's a purple line, a legacy target. You see that purple line there? Yes, you probably do, that this whole structure is setting up on. Well, that purple line was a legacy target of something we called previously that actually got made and became a key level of significance around which you've been pivoting and have now turned to support on. Note support. You see that? You see that squeezy, Japanesey all the way, the volatility constriction, tighter she goes, all sitting on top of that purple line. That was a 4.75 that we literally predicted. And we'll go back and show you the pattern in a bit. But let's tell you about the now. Let's tell you about the September, October, what's coming. Yes, we're almost done with August, and the bond dealers will be back at their desks soon after sunning their buns in Saint-Tropez. That's right. This is an upside structure, and this calls for a 5.35% to the high side on the 30-year debt of the US 30-year debt markets. So they are losing control of the long end. That's going to point to continued steepening, and they're going to start putting all their debt out on the shorter end. You see, people don't think a crisis is tomorrow, but given 30 years, they're assured a crisis. So they start abandoning the long end. Also, the rates have got much higher. By the way, remember what I told you last time. America's rates are higher than Germany. There's a reason for that. Okay, they're higher than China. There's a reason for that. You are not the least dirty shirt. Okay, stop it now. Okay, you're not the fittest sick horse in the glue factory, or never understood that one. What are you doing with horses in glue factories anyway? Are you chopping them up to make glue? I don't know. Anyway, someone tell me, why is it the least ugly horse in the glue factory? I need it explained to me. But they say that as well. The rates that your long-term debt are required to pay point to your likelihood of failure, the increase of risk of financial repression, and the level of inflation likely in your nation, plus a real return. And of course, none of that is being truly reflected in the debt markets. The debt markets are overvalued with too lower interest rates, and we are going to suddenly have price discovery on that. That's going to lead to price rate hikes. But the Fed cut, you say. The Fed cut is coming. Yep, I'm watching you on this screen as well. The Fed cut is coming in September. Well, we'll see if it actually comes, because it still could possibly not come despite what Powell said. But if it comes, let me tell you, it'll be something they reverse. In terms of how we did our ride around e-bike with you, we said to you, they are more than 3 or 4 cuts behind because the economy is far weaker than they realize, and they're 9 plus hikes behind. Now, how can you be both those things, you say? Because it's hyper-stagflation. The debt needs significantly more devaluation and much higher yields, but you aren't going to get that. They're going to drag it out, financial repression for decades. They're going to try bleed it out. So you actually need to be lower for the consumer and much higher for the asset category that is actually going to underperform and contract over multi-decades, delivering terrible capital gains, negative capital gains, and insufficient yield. That's right. And that's why gold is your answer. It is not being debased like the fiat. And when you have a massive crash in debt, like we did, that turned so badly, remember these yields. So let's go and show you where that older purple line came from. We're going from the daily to the weekly chart. We were on the daily, by the way. This sudden move from here to here represents at its worst point 55% loss on the long end of debt markets. That's right. And it needs to get worse. That means your fiat Siamese twin, their head joins this head. You can't drown the fiat without drowning the debt. You can't drown the debt without drowning the fiat. They get borrowed into existence. Too much debt means fiat-based collapse. You should be expecting a similar 55% loss in buying power on your dollar. And guess what? You probably have. That's why your inflation rate is 2.34 times on a 5-year period. That's about right for the amount of debasement. The fact that you've only gone down 10 or 11% to the euro means the euro is having its own version of the exact same thing, and you're comparing yourself to another leper. You don't compare the complexion of one leper to another leper and say, well, I'm relatively better. You're both lepers. You joined a leper colony. You kissed the chief leper to become unsound money, and now you're in a leper colony of similar lepers. That's where we are. So this is an upside squeeze on the bigger time frame. That little squeeze looks kind of small when you look at it at the weekly, but it will take you incrementally higher. And we are walking now closer to those points where the mathematics means all fall down. The interest rate payments are already larger than the military industrial complex spend bill, and we know how much they're stealing there. It's their pipeline of choice of sucking your blood, the vampires, of course. So you know that. So that is the US 30-year discussed, and this is a reminder of the TLT, which is again near very, very low levels. That's it there. So it's the inverse of that. And it's looking at very, very low levels and getting ready to sell off some more. What about the United Kingdom? Because we made a big fuss about them, didn't we just? Let's put up the 30-year there. And you can see that this is turning into a synchronized event of contagion in the debt markets. Let's go back to that daily. We've shown you about this. Very similar. The daily United Kingdom is even closer to all-time highs than the US, because it's had a bleed up, a consistent bleed up here, and you are sitting at 5.6%, 5.6% higher than the American, meaning a bigger risk than America. So America for now can say, well, at least we're not the absolute worst. You're probably the second dirtiest shirt in the laundry relative to the United Kingdom, which is very, very moot praise. Let me tell you that. Very, very mute praise. And this is also going higher. This is also certainly going higher. We've done this draw on the 20-year, which gives us the best setup of where the 20-year is likely to go. And we will show you that. Let's go to the weekly and show you the 20-year as a reminder. So you have the United Kingdom and America, both inching up in wind-up structures to go higher. This is pointing to a September-October debt-based event. A debt-based event in September, October is our prediction. Yes, we even given you a time frame. We're sticking our neck out. We can always be wrong. They might muddle through. Despite, if he goes ahead with that cut, I'm imagining the long end is going to do the exact opposite. And we've had that before. You said, what? No. Can't go up. Powell sets the rates. He's pushed them down. You can't go up. Well, you sure can on the long end. And we've already had one instance of that. And that was over here, again, in and around there. The long end is creeping higher and it doesn't care. The UK long end on the 20-year is 7.57%. 7.57%. That's right. So that's the long end of the UK. Let's get the US on the 20-year as well, just so that we can compare like for like. And you can see it here. That is a beautiful setup for higher, higher, and higher. If I'm bullish, I'm bullish. That is a great setup as well. And it's also got the small little setup at the moment right here. So hold on a minute. Why are rates creeping up? Why are rates creeping up if Powell says, but rate cuts are coming? Because the market decides, not Powell, and there's too much debt. There's way too much debt. I'm checking your comments on the other screen. Bear Steepner. John from Andalusia. What about pork bellies? Somebody enjoys the market sniper. Thank you. You're hitting the like. Hi from Greece. Francis, how do you cash out share certificates hidden under the bed when the shit hits the fan? Well, at least you have some paper reference. I still prefer holding gold. Even though the miners will outperform, you only win if you get to make the money and you get to sell. If you don't have certificates, don't even go there. It's a derivative proxy. All derivatives will fail as part of their bringing in the new system, the more equitable system to build back better, you understand, more fairly. We're going to adjust for the colonization that went before by the white Europeans, forgetting to mention that it was actually a small cultist, parasitic, internationalist, mercantilist, tertiary extracting, opium peddling classes that ran the Dutch East India Company, the Dutch West Caribbean Company, and that they've been living and sitting in nations and casting all their sin upon the indigenous members of those countries, as if it was them that perpetrated it, as if it was them that got all the money from turning countries into reliance on heroin. That's right. But don't let's mention that too much. It's bad. It's wrong. The banker mercantilist classes are not allowed to be criticized. So that's the US 20. What about the German? Well, the German is turning up even if from a lower rate. You had 4.9 on the 20-year with the US. We'll do the DE for you as well. So this is rates. This is meaning property prices down with rates. We've got to take the log scale out of that and go back to reg. And you will see quite clearly that this is marching upwards. We'll go with our favorite transgender pink. Here you go. And by the way, you had that Merckx guy. Oh, what a yawn, what a clown, sitting there and saying, and here's what he said. He looked straight-faced and he said, Germany can't afford the welfare state anymore. The welfare, the international global welfare state anymore. And he's telling the citizens that. He's telling the citizens that, and see what he does. There's a number of reasons why he says that and he does that. It's almost like you asked him to do it, and he's having to warn you. You asked him to bring all of North Africa into Germany. You asked him to do that. You asked them to pay them all massive amounts of welfare for sitting at home and doing nothing, the odd one driving an Uber. You asked them to do that, and he has to warn you now, you've gone and done damage to the country. Never mind the fact that him and all the prime ministers and chancellors, whatever they call them in Germany before him, have perpetually done that. It didn't matter who you voted for. They did it. They have broken the system. They have done the import of the welfare tourists. They've brought in the crime. They've brought in all the costs for doing business, the unfireability, the socialism, the corporate Marxism, and every other ism that they've wanted to. They brought it in, and now it's starting to reflect in price discovery on a market, and you now have something that was as low as 2.2 over here, under 2.2, now trading 3.2, and happens to be the backbone of Europe. All the other bond markets rely on this one being their fallback. Yes, they'll be a little bit higher, but the implication is Germany stands behind. Greece, Portugal, Italy, Spain, every one of the southern, and of course, France, etc. The entire European experiment is based upon the strength, the industrial strength of Germany, which has been undermined by increasing energy prices. You know all the reasons why. Buying oil via India, the Russian oil via India, or light natural gas that's come from the Russian pipeline into China and is being shipped because the ships are so big they can't go through the Suez Canal round Africa, all the way around Africa to Europe. That's right. To get from Russia to Europe, you've gone pipeline via China into a LNG gas port in China, all the way around on a boat, all the way around the south of Africa, virtually to Antarctica, around the biggest continent on the planet, all the way around to deliver it. But green agenda, you say. But green agenda is for Marxism. It's for culturally subverting you and curtailing your freedoms and setting up a social score system and every other aspect of suppression and totalitarianism. The green agenda is about Marxism and totalitarianism. You need to understand that. You need to understand that. You need to understand that. They do not give a monkey's backside for the environment. These are the people that drop atomic bombs. These are the people that run military-industrial complex that run on diesel engine tanks, etc., planes that cost hundreds of millions to keep in the air, just for a few sorties of barely running into hours long. They don't give a hell about the planet. They know the planet can take it. The planet will outlive the lot of us, and they are going to turn the narrative just for you. It's a narrative for you. It's a stick to beat you with. It is Marxism. It is red of claw. That's where you're at, the German market. So he tells you that we can't continue to do this, like he's chastising you because you wanted it. You're the kid that kept wanting sweets for dinner, and we wanted to give you vegetables and steak, and you asked, just can I have more ice cream and sweets for dinner? That's how they talk to you. So that when the collapse comes, it's like, well, you had your good days and we told you so. He's establishing alibi. Merck is establishing alibi for a forthcoming collapse that him and all his cohorts knowingly created in a controlled demolition that is designed to strip you of your assets, you of your wealth. And that is why we are in reset territory. That's why this debt collapse matters. This is why this is one of the most important discussions you're looking into and listening to right here, right now. You need that link right there. You need to be in a community preparing for reset. You need to recognize this is not your normal economic times. They are coming to strip you of your wealth 100%. And they're making it, you did it. The indigenous taxpayer of Germany who's being loaded up paying social payments for all the immigrant classes and all the extra costs on energy for sailing a ship the other side of China, and one's all the way from Houston to buy expensive gas from the same country that they could have bought it directly from. They did this to you. It is a tax extraction mechanism. It ensures inflation. Inflation is a strategy. It is a strategy of intent to debase your currency and make you poor at the same time as building wealth for intermediaries, Israeli companies and Chinese companies that are setting up intermediaries to bring you things that you could have had right on your doorstep, as well as America. It's to reduce the trade deficit with America. It's everything else. The European nation is being gang raped financially to force and bring about a contagion collapse in the debt markets, which will see massive reductions in services offered by governments because they can't afford it anymore, and massive tax scavenge, of which inflation is one of the highest aspects and biggest tools of their tax scavenge. And they are doing it through inflation on the energy prices, while all the intermediaries get fat and rich on a risk-free trade, buying cheap gas from Russia and peddling it through and round about the houses to sell you the same item you could have had for a lot less. That is not green policy. It is not ecological. It is just rape. It is financial rape. It is a tax. It is a tax burden on you. And that's what's happening to the debt market right here. Real destruction to the buying power of your euro. It's time the euro also face that. Your costs of borrowing are going to go up. The collapse on your property market is coming because the ability to use the debt markets to fund government over expenditure, which is also inflation by another name and taxation by another name, will then be removed. A major cut in your service provisions in the United Kingdom, in Europe, in America is coming. This is stagflationary times, less pickups of your trash, higher fees to pay for less services, and then tax scavenge, capital gains taxes on everything. Rachel Reeves of accounts in the UK. Oh my goodness, She is bringing about the collapse with the Labour government, another collapse of sheer intent against you, to reduce the buying power of the pound, to cut all your services that you get, to reduce welfare payments because the debt market can't cope with it anymore. Too many black holes. Everybody's steering and talking about an IMF bailout for the UK. The hole is too big for the IMF to do. The last time Britain got an IMF bailout, it used 10% of the fund. It would require over 50% this time just for the United Kingdom, at the same time that all the other synchronized lepers also need the IMF not that far further down the road. How the hell do you think you fix it? Global reset of a debt-based collapse, as we told you that the 40-year bull market ended in the late 2020, is the single biggest, most significant aspect that totally undermines a debt-based system and makes it unfeasible to fund anymore, as your interest payments go through the roof for government. So how do you prepare? Hyper-stagflation. Hyper-stagflation. What does it mean? It means your buying power of your money is going to collapse. Costs are going to spike, and the growth on your income is going to be significantly lower than the rate of cost of living. That is how they force you into a UBI serfdom tokenized world. That is how they will do it, by impoverishing you, by forcing you to be sellers on your houses that you have high mortgages on as the interest rate goes up. Stagnation requires rate cuts because the consumer is wrecked. In fact, we've had a crowding out of all the money. It's called crowding out in economic parlance and terms. All the money goes to the state. State expenditures, the biggest spender is now state. If the state becomes 50% of the economy, it's a communist mixed economy verging on communist economy, awarding all the biggest contracts to who? Amazon, Palantir. Yes, you don't hate these companies enough. You don't undermine them enough. You continue to support them. Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, building server farms. Server farms are the most valuable things, more than plant and manufacturing. Server farms with unbelievable ratings. They crowd all the money in. They get an ETF system that keeps algo buying the biggest and making them bigger. And they keep bringing about self-prophesizing and escalating in a capital world, a two-tier equity market. You have a two-tier justice system. I told on 2016 on Greenwich in London, I stood there where the astronomer hut was, and I said to you all, overlooking the River Thames, it's a polarization of the world. It's a polarization. That means you're going to hit a post, most people are going to turn left, and the super elite are going to turn right. Absolute polarization. You have a polarization of the equity markets for the status contracts that are being awarded to absolute corporate fascist megacorp unicorn corporations. And then you have the rest of the S&P that can get starved and whistle Dixie to get finance and pay much higher rates and doesn't get fed. Little Joe Soap's restaurant chain in Arkansas, Phoenix, etc. They don't get the money. They got to deal with everyday bank managers that don't want to borrow to small businesses. We've reached a too big to fail megacorp unicorn corporate fascist society of absolute polarization, a dichotomy. And this is what's happened. This was been our prediction since that 2016. It was our prediction even before that video that went viral. And you're facing it now. You have two-tier justice. You have two-tier megacorp equities. You will have two-tier absolutely everything. And you're on the wrong tier. It's a gorgeous old club, but you ain't in it. That's where you are going. Debt-based collapse. Your protection is, let's show you some more charts, is gold. It's gold, it's gold, it's gold, but it's not gold enough. It's not gold enough. You don't just save yourself from what's going down. It is not gold enough. And you will see that subscription model that's going to turn everybody into a serf owning nothing. That's where they want to take you. And I will show you a crypto, a new release crypto that's going to focus, how cool, on tokenizing property and gold. Well, there's already a few that want a bit of that slice, but as it's being highlighted, it specifically mentions gold. They know what real value is. And they will start with a big value, and it'll be optional at first, and then it'll become fading in and so much more convenient. And now we've got the new systems. You can't do the old anymore. It's much harder. Go in the slow queue till eventually we don't do that anymore. You've got to have the tokenization for your assets so that we can register and know what you own. This is a surveillance absolute totalitarian society. The BlackBerry died because you could remove the battery and you could stop them from listening to you. That's right. Yeah, now you have the iPhone and the Samsung XYZ Ultra with the 2 battery system that they can always spy even when your phone's off, even when your batteries can't take out, even when your battery's flat. So gold will be it. We got the pump of the Fed. So the Fed folded. The Fed folded, officially in word so far. We might look favorably at cuts. Well, really, how's that going to do with your debt financing system? You're now going to want a bigger price for your debt instrument in an absolute glut environment. There are 3 cuts behind and 9+ hikes behind in terms of it. And that's the dichotomy. That's the walk the plank. That's the pier. The one is a parabola like that from left to right where it gets bad. That is your economy and its sustainability, income, cost of living, etc., like that. That line is just getting worse where that goes that side. And then the other one is inflation rates and bond market, and it gets worse like that. You're walking a plank that is doing that, and the two are turning into parabolas left and right, which is on the gold chart a parabola up, and on the bond market a parabola down. So there you go. You've got 4D chess explained to you with parabolas. The plank is here. We're at the point where the werewolf that's chasing the road runners suddenly goes running and looks down, and the plank has ended, and then he falls, and falls. We're at that point. Powell is conceding to populist political need, a crushed consumer. But what he's also not conceding, he's saying, after me, the storm, he's buggering off. It's his last go. I'll throw them a bone. The next guy is going to have to roll funding on an ever shorter duration to make it affordable, just even affordable on lower interest rates, because the interest rates are too high already on the long end and they're crowding out on the down end. Okay, so gold, what's happening? Well, it's actually not too much, to be frank. We had the surge of Friday, which is the minute he's talking about rates going down, you will get an immediate surge. But since then, little bit of chop and churn. Gold is holding up better than silver. At these key moments, the big boy is the best boy. He's the king. He sits up. Silver's been a little bit more off slightly. So the gold-silver ratio will weak. But if they start to run, the higher beta will outperform. Same with platinum, also been underperforming for now. But that's quite a big candle. We're getting these little pops and surges. We're at a key level. If you do HVF method draws with me, and this is what we focus on in our community, building wealth during these times. So the occasional use of great leverage, by the way, or mild leverage, better, can allow you to grow your investment pot immensely. There's going to be real opportunities. We know they're trapped. We know they're lying. You know they're lying. You know the inflation rate's a lot higher. You know they can't afford to raise the rates higher. You know the economy is wrecked. They can't afford to cut the rates much lower. But you know all of these things. So the key moment of the debt-based collapse is very, very near and close at hand. So gold wins regardless of rates up or rate down, because we're having a substitution of reserve asset moment. Everybody needs out of the debt and out of the dollar. By the way, for those of you that subscribe to the dollar's too well proliferated as a transactional tool, they may do this and that, but the dollar is king. Go to Africa, go to Latin America. The only thing you can buy with is dollar. African nation states are retiring their dollar-based debt because of the interest rate costs with the rate go up for Chinese yuan. So the economic hitman that put the debt gun to all the African nation states like that and said, we've got you now, the holder of the gun is changing. The gun is staying at the head. But the American that held that gun to the African nation states is slowly wilting and disappearing. And in his place is a Chinese man who said, let me hold that for you, sir. Let me hold you that for you. Much less aggressive, much less militaristic, but long term. These are the nation of patience. This is the nation that said, lie on the river banks for long enough, and eventually you'll watch all your enemies come washing by. That's right. You don't need to attack and kill your enemies. Just give them the space and time to kill themselves and wait and watch it all happen. And that's what they're doing. The United States of America, the Britain, the Europeans are committing harikari like the finest Japanese samurai sword straight through the spleen and the belly, and they are shaking it all about, and they are wincing in pain and bleeding themselves out by a series of political Marxism by the predatory mercantilist classes that are deeply embedded in all their systems and in dark governance. This is a controlled demolition of intent. That's where we are, friends. So let's see what your comments are and take a small rest. We're going to go through silver and platinum as well. We are not helpless. Without a consumers and workers, what will they have? Well, here's the thing with the consumer side. They'll actually do, and they're quite happy, now that they've got AI and robotics, they don't need so many consumers and workers, so they think, and they're quite ready for the traditional post-Marxist installation genocide, which is a very popular pastime with Marxists whenever they seize control. Ask the Bolshevik Russians about the death that went in there. Mao, go and check in even in Vietnam, Cambodia, the killing fields. They're very good with a little bit of population culling, and they're no doubt got a plan and an intent. Why did the Deagle stats have such massive down grades of Western population? United States, United Kingdom. Where did 100 million plus America? How do you get to 99 million in America? How do you lose nearly 70% of the British population? Where have they all gone? They can't all fit in Dubai. They aren't all millionaires that have gone to Dubai. How did that happen? I ask. Well, they seem to know something. Those same there Masonic, Kabbalistic contractors to the military-industrial complex seem to know stuff about population transitions. That's suddenly a lot of boomers that kick the bucket, isn't it? Maybe it's more than boomers if you're dropping to 99 million from over 300. Wow. Anyway, I picked them up. Facts right there. They want lower population. It's not about consumers, my friend. They don't need your consumption. They'll quite happily have a smaller game with less of your consumption and less of your labor. I saw a response to elongated muskiness. So Elon, I've got to find that tweet. I mean, this is just absolute garbage. We'll come back to that tokenization. And let's just cover the tokenization while we're here. Here's the usual crypto pumpamental sheet. And then we'll go to Elon afterwards. Real world asset tokenization, real estate and gold, 2 or 3 clicks. Here you have a very specific intent. It's not the only one, it's not the first time, but I need to put this stuff in an image for you. Here's your little crypto pumpamental sheet for XYZ token, whatever. Apparently German, got some German names in there. Here's all it's mucking. It's going to do real world asset tokenization. That is what Finkelstein of BlackRock, now your World Economic Forum leader, he's doubling up, as you know, in all the satanic posts that are available. He stands there ready to go. There he is. Yeah, and this is, of course, his favorite theme. And he tells you, you will escape governance. No, you won't. You'll escape national governments and you'll transcend into the global nationalist, blockchain searchable, ultimate governments that'll hunt you down wherever you are, that'll have draconian overlording powers over all nation states in some future dystopian technological surveillance new world order system that he's so excited to introduce, because that'll mean they won the game of monopoly. The bankers finally won the monopoly game. Everyone else was left skint and on a stipend, and they could rape who they pleased in all forms of manners, not just financial. And that's it. That's what you got to do. Blockchain, your big friend. Where's all those Bitcoin freedom privacy guys gone? Whatever happened to McAfee and Roger Ver? Who these new lot? Who the new lot are that are all just shut up and pump my bags? Oh dear, how the mighty of principle have fallen. They'll just cuddle up to the captors in Stockholm Syndrome, cuddle up, give me nice toxic booby to suckle on, pump my bags, pump my bags, pump my bags, slave master. Oh dear, oh dear. We are surrounded by soulless people, devoid of principle, that absolutely 100% will pursue anything. They've married into the Bitcoin psyop. They'll continue to tell you Satoshi Nakamoto fairy tales, and that it's absolutely frank, and they've sold their soul for a bit of drugs and rock and roll and a little bit of pumpermentals. Be a good slave in your new Stockholm Syndrome state of mind. That's where we are at, friends. That's where we are at. We said it from the beginning on crypto. We are the most consistent voice in YouTube. We've been telling you this is coming. We've been telling you just buying gold wasn't enough when it was an unpopular thing, an outrageous thing to say, and we are on the fringe. You see it more. Everything we've said continues to be confirmed. Global Marxism is uploading a debt-based crash, which will see counterparty, great taking, and every other attack vector they can utilize to strip you of your wealth, hitting you hard. You don't know the scale of the shock and awe of financial skullduggery that these bastards are going to bring down on your godforsaking head. You're sleeping. You're sleeping. You're not taking enough action. You think you have a plan. I think I have a plan. They've got a plan for your plan and your reserve plan and your B, C, D, and E plan. That's right. You don't. You've got more work to do. You've got to get up and roll. But within that, there's real opportunity. Click the link, book a call, understand the direction this planet is heading in, or this world space, whatever it is heading in. They are coming for your wealth. They are coming. They will want you to register all your assets. You have a decision tree, just like the VAX protocol. You're either losing your job and staying healthy, or you're signing on to the little toxic poisoning cycle they intend to bring down on your head as part of the population cull. You are doing that. You're going to get the financial equivalent of that coming at you hard and fast. This is true. How many likes have we got? How many people have we got on the stream view? How many of you are watching right now? Let's hit the like button. Don't forget. Keep coming at us. So what else can I show you? Well, I want to show you silver. So we're going to go over to the silver chart. So a little bit off silver, not quite as strong as gold. You can see it's come off a little bit, but there is an upside HVF in the making there that can still transpire and work out. This may just be a pullback for now, and we have drawn the following like that. There you go. So we see the possibility of a 41 run in silver, and you are actually in a pullback after the J. Powell triggering event. Erectile projectile, Mr. Powell, I will cut. Oh my God. And we all meant, oh, Trump's won out over Powell. He's bottled it, all of this. Forget that level of game. Those are actors. They're middle management. Really, they are. You really need to understand this is much bigger. You've got to worry about Lowell Finkelstein and the person he takes his orders from. You don't know the names of these people. They're silent but violent. You don't even know, you don't even hear, they never have their pictures taken, no one dares. They run the asset managers that run the banks, that run the Fed, that run the political system, that sponsor the lower middle management that is Donald J. Trump. Your sole Judas goat that's here to betray all the MAGA fools that went along with it. So you're in a down leg right now, but actually we could see you getting a bit of support at about the 38.2. So that's over here. And this is funnel. We would be surprised to see the red run. So there's possibility for accumulation. And if gold starts running, you'll get the overperformance. The second interim is at 39.73, so it could be getting good for silver. And then if that breaks, you should be running 41.27, which could see you make the 41.5 before you rest. This is not a massive time frame. It's a 4-hour time frame setup that we are highlighting to you. That could see you make the 40s and be part of the way to 42 even. That will be, if we close at that point at the end of the quarter, the all-time highest ever close. Every time you traded 50, you got slammed. The Hunt brothers of 1980. The 2011 never held 50 for more than a breathscope. Certainly by the quarter end, the derivative markets can't have that triple witching quarter end way up there. So there's real possibilities you'll be at a new quarter end and possibly a monthly close on silver. Ever. And forget the 50s. Those were touched with a baby's breath's air for a segment and a second, and then they were rejected very early, well before month end, well before quarter end. So it is big. Let me show you that on a bigger time frame. That's a 41.3 target, as I say, is on. When are we wrong? When do we accept we're wrong? If they run the stop loss, that is nice and clear with a draw tool. Let me do it in blue, in a square for you, right here on the box of truth. You see that, 37.7, right there. If you run 37.7, that's a stop loss zone. You could acquire anywhere below. This is a non-recommendation, me talking about what I might do in a trading context. If you are not qualified and you don't understand, this is an absolutely non-advisory, entertainment only channel. You should seek financial advice from a moron somewhere who's based on traditional financial advice, or maybe not a moron, someone else. In our opinion, there are no advisors that are set and understand truly the state of where we are that could give good opinion, but it is mandated that you should have regulated advice. So good luck with that, and go and do it if you choose. Don't follow what we do. We're just talking aloud. Okay, so that might be my entry in the blue box for a 41.26, and then a bit of Slammy, Mr. Slammy will show up again. Let's show you that monthly silver chart. And we'll turn some lights off just to calm the noise down, and we will also clean our face and get back there. Okay, and let's just have a look at ever since the 80s. Get the whole boy on. In fact, so you can see since the 80s, the highest monthly close, if I just do the close, was 34. Now, $34 used to be quite a lot of money. Of course, it's an absolute pittance now. You'll barely get 2 burgers and a plate of chips and a Coke but amongst you. Not that you should be eating that garbage anyway. But that's 34. The highest close in 2011 on the monthly actually is quite high. You got a close at 47.9, but not at the quarterly. 47.9 on the monthly. So let's get the 3-month in, because the quarterly is what matters. The futures markets are determined by that. So let's see that and pull it through for you. Pull it through. Now, if you look at the quarterly close, the highest quarterly close in 2011 January was 37.65. You are at 38.47 today. That open was a little higher. The open was 37.75. You are also higher than that. The bodies of these candles are all below where you are trading today on silver. The body of those candles are all below where you are trading today on silver. Plus, you have an upside HVF that suggests a 41.3 might be on the cards. That would take you up to around here, 41.3 over there as a candle. Where you close at the end of the quarter, which will be September, which is still a week and a month to go, 5, probably maybe 5.5, nearly 6 weeks, will be difficult to say. That's why I take what trades I get, and I am an investment long. That's my position. I'll take the 41.3. They'll probably give it a little bit of slammy when it gets there. So actually, the neckline for the cup and saucer, if you reduce it away from wicks, there's 2 versions, and you have just triggered it right here, right now. On a quarterly basis, if you are doing a cup and saucer technical draw, a cup and handle, let me rather say. Why did I say cup and saucer? Flying saucer, the PSYOP, it's coming. The spacemen are coming to get you, by the way. We're going to need a new world order funding system to defend the planet. We're all in this together. They're going to attack you, the green men. Yeah. So you have actually broken that for the first time. That is kind of a triggering. But we will point out, you get once, twice, 3 times, which is why we'll take the 41.3, but still expect a sell-off. The lady comes next, and that will be your final break. So everybody wants it to be now. They want to be told, yay, right now, moon boy, all big. There's lots of clickbaiters that have crossed over from crypto to precious metals. They now tell you you're going to get an overnight revaluation of 4 or 5 times. Never mind the derivative markets and all that. We'll just blow that shit up so that you can get rich. More fantasy shilling. Don't listen to fantasy shillers. At the very most, a mark to market, and that would put all the attention on gold, exactly the place they don't want it to be on. You don't want to talk about the alternative reserve asset when your current reserve asset of a 40-year duration is in a state of absolute collapse. You don't want to remind people. All they'll hear is gold. So remember, trust me, the last thing they want to talk about publicly, and everyone will go, oh, but Bessett's a bull, you know, he was in the commodity markets. When you're in government, you don't want to talk about the truth that exposes your lie. It doesn't matter if you majored in truth, you majored in gold, you majored in mining, you scratched holes in your back garden looking for the bright yellow stuff. It doesn't matter who you are. When you play the government game, you hold up the government end. And that's to lie, propagate mistruths, fake statistics, and keep people in the dark for as long as possible so that you can position your collapse to your greatest benefit of you and the insider banking cartel that pays your salaries and blackmails you, that gave you the position in the first place. That's who you serve, because if you forget that, bad things happen to you. Okay, so that's it. If you learned anything from Epstein. Okay, so there we go. That's silver. That's the silver markets. Fantasy shillers. That's right, absolute shillers of fantasy. Let's go to elongated muskiness. Your hey, everything's going to be awesome guy. Yeah, the liar, the UBI pushing con artist. Let's find where we dealt with that. By the way, silver and platinum have been added. Silver has been added as a critical metal. So is platinum, and platinum has also been added. Bob Coleman, give him a follow. There's your route for gas from China. This is your eco-centric. Put it on a big ship, park tons of water, get a massive metal cleaver with special liquid tanks that have to hold super high pressure, load them up and sail them in this massive U-turn. Had to bring them in. You know, there you go. Here's everybody else noticing the rates. We didn't do Japan. We got to do Japan. We got to do Japan. Let's go and do JP 30 yield. Oh boy, bear in mind that the US have been funding chronically out of the Japanese yield. And remember that they are the cheap borrowing vector for America in their casino. And that is your 30-year. This is a walkout to the upside, friends. This is an absolute walkout. Low vol, no mooning. This is a walkout. You are at 3.138. This was a currency that at one point was sitting down here when we first started calling these macro squeezes and said, you're going to change. It's going to go up. That went hand in hand with our 2020, end of 2020 call short of the end of the 40-year bull market. We looked at every market. We looked at the Japanese. We found technical setups on the Japanese. We spoke about it. We did the most unwatched videos ever on YouTube on Japanese debt. That's right. Because people are stupid. They don't really want to know the headlines. They only want to know when everyone else knows. They don't really want to be early. They're inherently stupid. They're inherently sheep. They're inherently dumb. They don't want to hear about a market far away that has no bearing to them in their mind, especially a debt market. No, they're inherently stupid. It's only once all the talking heads and Druckenmiller and everyone's talking about debt that everyone starts to listen, because they don't want to look stupid and be the only one in the room that doesn't know. You don't want to know the things early. That's why you're not getting the most out of this channel. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell. Always be notified. Get the news before the goddamn news here. 4.5 years before. How about that? So that you can spend the rest of your days preparing properly, so that when everyone else starts talking about it, you already have rhyme and verse. It's about being prepared. It's about being early. Do you understand the value? That's what you get with the Market Sniper right here. Click the link below, book a call, wake up, get the news before the news, because you're getting it hard and heavy on a Tuesday, and you got to wake the hell up. This is a cold bucket chucked over your head, and it's good for you. It's bloody good for you. You feel better afterwards. You don't enjoy it now. That's how it works. Everything that is long-term good for you hurts in the beginning. And that's why we are who we are. And that's why our message is consistent. And that's why people telling you about dollar spikes and dollar dominance are sitting there watching the Dixie's going from 110, which we gave the target for on an upside HVF. They were projecting 140 when it was going up. We said, no, target made. Downturn. We then started warning that if the debt's gone down, the currency has to go down, and you've seen it. You now see the dollar index sub 100. Where is the Dixie? Let's check in on the Dixie. That's against fatally flawed currencies. Fatally flawed currencies. Let's switch it off. The Dixie is sitting at 98. The Dixie is sitting at 98. America has a real problem, but guess what? The others do too. You shouldn't even be comparing it to that. The only thing that really matters is gold ounces. How many gold ounces wealth do you have? How many gold and silver ounces? How many gold, silver, and platinum ounces in wealth do you have? That is the money for the ages. That is how it works. We have investment links below. You can book Pure Gold, right by. I buy from them. You can buy from Pure Gold in the links below. Bullion Vault anywhere in the world. Internet gold, which you can pay and have registered bars if you want with bar numbers. And you can eventually either choose to have delivery, bit expensive truly, or sell and buy yourself for delivery from Pure Gold. You can do all of those. Those links are below from anywhere in most places in the world. Although that seems to be a dynamic environment. Have a call, see how they will help you. So what have we told you about? We told you about tokenization. I promised you Elon Musk. I promised you Elon. What did Elon say? Oh, this is an interesting one. When community notes get taken down. No one is above the law. FBI Director Kash Patel. Wow, don't we all love a good everybody gets it? Readers added context. Israeli government official Tom Aratum Alexandrovich was arrested and charged in joint FBI local police raid for attempting to lure a child online to engage in sexual conduct. He was granted bail. His passport was not taken and was allowed to leave for Israel following charges. Delete the community note. Community note deleted. Isn't that funny? No one's above the law. No one is above the law. Nobody is above the law. There's Canada. Canada is America, I'm afraid, 10 years ahead. That's my big fear for you. That's what cost of living increases, tax scavenge mode, and reduction in services does. That street right there, that's Newsom country, and that's coming for you. By the way, that won't stop him from becoming your next Democrat candidate. Oh boy, boy, don't they come. Here's the thing about nation. The British Empire wasn't just a political system. It was the greatest heist in history. Hang on. These guys always nation state. How many times do we tell you? They nation state these big history thread reveals. They don't assign the plunder to the Dutch East India Company and its shareholders in the coffee shops of Amsterdam and London. They're not specific about who those people were, those legacy families, those tertiary extractor mercantilist types that will pop up and infest any nation. They put it on the working class man in the streets of Liverpool or the East End of London. You did it. You were a colonialist bastard. Your forefathers were. No, they were sent to die for that corporation to ensure its rights to sell opium, a highly addicted drug, to the Chinese, because we had no goods they wanted. They were a more sophisticated society. They sold beautiful things, so we sold them drugs. We, the cartel, the Dutch East India Company, the Sassoons, who were they? Go and find out. Go and find out. It is not the average Brit. It is not that did that. It is the control structure of corporatism amongst all of it. We're looking for that tweet, and we're running into other things of great interest along the way. Where was it? It wasn't that long ago. There we go. This is them killing aid workers, rescuing people in a hospital. We know who does that. Here we go. Dear Elon, when robots replace working people, How will those who become unemployed sustain their lives? There's your question from the mouth of babes, because I do think it's a childlike question. Ozden Duran, probably from Turkey. When robots replace working people, how will those people who become unemployed sustain their lives? She asks. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. What's to happen of me when the robot comes? Okay, there will be universal high income. We're all going to get high. Not merely basic income. Oh, but it was called UBI, Universal Basic Income. Now it's UHI. We're gonna get a free cannabis flute with every little token government shitcoin that they give you. Everyone will have the best medical care, food, home, transport, and everything else. Sustainable abundance. This is Narnia. You're all going to be buying gifts for your best mate. You're going to be rich on income that the government gives you. You're going to go with your mates and you're going to be out presenting each other. Here, I bought this for you. A golden vase with pearls for you to put your jewelry in. I don't really have jewelry, but here, have 3 Rolexes. We're going to be so rich on income that government is going to give us. It's unbelievable that. That is Narnia, Fantasia, utter BS from controlled opposition Zio Pig, who is part and parcel of the Peter Thiel PayPal mafia that is busy, you guessed it, giving the location using WhatsApp and devices so that children can be slaughtered. That is who he is. That is who this man is. He is bringing the Marxism, bringing the income for all. You know what that's called? It's called communism. He is bringing communism. What about the third party? I'm going to back Vance anyway. Peter Thiel's boy, my mate who's a vampire and keeps buying students' blood so that he can live longer. Happens to have been the lucky guy that invested in Facebook, did this. Every unicorn that was about to go up, he was a seed investor in. Those have made more billions by investing. I mean, you couldn't have the luck of this guy. You couldn't. Peter Thiel, this guy can't put a foot wrong. He's seed invested in every damn thing that's ever gone up 1,000x. Wow, you're a genius. And what? Elon's your best friend. Elon's telling you about UBI and how we're all going to be minted. You're going to have all this time, guys. You're going to wake up and you're going to, and what do I do today? As an income mass affluent dude, I just think I'll go cruise restaurants. Why would a restaurateur want to work? Why go work to sell to other rich people when you're independently rich? Isn't it time to enjoy your lives? Everyone will just close their restaurants and go on yacht trips around the world. Who's working anymore? We're going to be UBI rich. Elon said so. Happy days. Can you feel it? Are you optimistic? Are you buying it? Are you buying it? When they don't need you, you comprehendo? That's what's coming. AI, robotics, reduced need for labor. Why should they make you rich and keep you alive for as long as ever? They don't like you. They hate you. They're bringing communism. He's bringing communism, telling you the convenient, the oh so convenient, amazing, optimistic lie. And I'm bringing you the cue for hard-hitting truths. And there's one person in my queue, and there's a horde of sheep. Yay, Elon. We're going to be rich. Sustainable abundance is going to be flowing all around like it ever was abundance for the masses. We have enough money that no one in Africa could ever go without clean water and daily food. But guess what? People are starving. No, we have all the money in the world and we like it that way. Crowded into certain people's hands of a ruling class, living parasitically off of people they hate, they look down on. They are the ultimate supremacists in every single way. That's where you're at. Sustainable abundance brought to you by elongated muskiness, the Zio pig. Yep. Okay, let's have a look at some of your comments. We've been prattling on a bit. Guns, gold, groceries, folks. The system is collapsing all over. Get your own grocery from the back garden. Build and grow. Garden is the new cool. Green fingers are the right fingers. Green agenda sucks. Green fingers. How can we prevent our physical assets from being tokenized? You resist, you resist, you resist, you undermine, you push back, you complain, you riot, you lawfare them, you get together as a group, you fund, you refuse, you just cause chaos. It's ambushing. You've got to go guerrilla warfare. You've got to ambush. You've got to vote out people that are pushing it. And if they give you only options with people pushing it, you refuse to vote, you lawfare them. You lawfare them. You get 20 of your guys together. One of them's a lawyer. You pay him. You go and you fight. You form communities. You create obstacles. You frustrate. You use their own system against them. You get foundations. You get trust. You live in different countries. You don't bank in the same country that you live in. You don't put your company in the same business, in the same realm, in the same jurisdiction. You have multiple arbitrage optionality to protect yourself from the tax scavenge system, which is the Marxist tool for leveling you into poverty so that you too become a UBI serf, a UHI serf, which will mean you're not a serf. You're going to live like a lord, a UHI, a lord. The whole world's going to be lords. We're all going to have tons of cash. Wow. We're going to be lighting cigars with $50 bills. Panama or Paraguay, there is no perfect place. They are parasitic and they're in the heads and brains of every major nation. Forget perfection. You just need to mix it up. You need to leave wherever you are, the country that you were born in. All of you, particularly if it's in the West. You need a bank somewhere. You need an online business. You need a lot of things. That's what we're all about. That's why you click the link below. You get out. You move. You don't look for perfection. You start moving. You get yourself a means to earn income that is internet-based and globalized. You will do better for it. You will do a lot better for it. You've got to learn to leave jobs. Jobs suck. It's over. They control you. PAYE, pay as you earn, sucks. You've got to get out of it. You're paying the most tax. You're feeding the demon. And what are they doing? They're paying interest to a banking cartel who's plotting your demise. Do you really want to fund your own death? No. Hello from Ottawa, capital of the world's shithole. You mentioned a few episodes ago that your gold revaluation could be used instead of confiscation to flush out retail gold owners. Yes. Can you expand on this idea and approach? Yes, if they did a reval, you would have to register to be able to get that price. They might run a two-price system, possibly even. And people who say that don't know that, we've had currencies that had two-price systems. In South Africa, there was a commercial and a financial rand for a long period. So to attract international money, you got one rate and the locals got another rate, all sorts of tricks. So you'd have to register. There's many, many ways, of which that's one. It was a good question, Mark Davies, James Doe. So yes, there's more that can be done there. You could be in black gold and that will have a lower price because it's not registered, or it hasn't had its capital gains tax on it, or its unrealized capital gains tax on it. And there are no capital gains in a money tree debasement system. It's a fraud. They're trying to tax you on a fraudulent gain. That isn't a gain, it's just a holding of value against a debased currency. We need the court case. If you debase money at an absolute parabolic level across multitude of nations, there are no capital gains to the degree that that money has been debased. We need to win that lawsuit. Who's the lawyers amongst you? You need to win that lawsuit in different countries. If in the space of a decade, you turn the money to 1% of what it was before, well, then we haven't gone up 100x on our gold. We haven't. We've just held value. That's what's happened. You need to start fighting. I watched your live stream, Biblical Rand, saying gold reval ain't never going to happen. Well, where's your reval? It hasn't happened yet. They need the money. They're scrambling. But do they want to attract attention to gold? No. Who holds much more gold than them? China and Russia. Do you want to enrich your enemies even more? And do you want to be the one that buys at the higher rate? They're buying at the current rate while they can. Why would you'd have to put a mark to market. You'd have to, if you wanted to go 4x or 5x, for the price to have any meaning, technical analysis tells you what is the volume, the verity, and the price discovery integrity of a market is that there is trade at real size at that price. So you would have to become a buyer at 5 times the amount for gold, given that you are short of gold compared to your main enemies, Russia and China and the BRICS. So why wouldn't you rather just buy gold now at its suppressed cheaper price instead of making it more expensive for you to subsequently value it at a higher price when you have less than them? Maybe start getting more of them. Then you can start wondering about it. What about the derivatives and your banker shareholders? Nobody talks about this in this tokenomics. This is all clickbait. They got views. The people that put forward all of these things got views because everybody is a pumpermental moron and will chase hopeless optimism. Think about how many people just loved Elon for the universal high income, not merely basic in any way. Everyone will have the best medical care. They will be bringing you in for scans to help you live longer and putting all sorts of high-tech wizardry in your health and diets and clever mushrooms and chia seeds and everything. You're going to be looked after like a lord, like they want you to live forever. Food, home, transport, everything. Isn't that magnificent? Everybody wants to hear that because of the positivity culture of absolute BS. People will buy a positive message far more than a hard, painful truth. That's it. The bucket of water is good for you. The bucket of water saves you. It resets your vagus nerve. It cools you down. It gets you focused. It brings the blood circulation. It makes your arteries contract. But do you like it? Oh, I don't like it. Give me my soft, warm, comfy blanket of high income. Elon will sell me a much nicer story than you, Sniper. He tell me nice stuff. He make me happy with what he says. Okay, carry on. So, think dollars. Think ounces, not dollars. How many ounces will it take to buy in X? Yes, we have 89.4K subscribers. Do you know, I started this channel in 2009. We are the slowest. We are officially the tortoise channel. But we march forward relentlessly and slowly. And when you hit the subscribe button, you could be one of those that take us into the 90s. Oh, yes, into the 90s. We roughly average about 1,000 new subscribers a month. If you hit the subscribe button now, you will not miss, and hit the bell. You will not miss live streams like this. And there are very many interesting days coming that will be further affirming my view. And I will be there to help you, give you guidance to the best of my ability on a non-advisory basis. Oh, yes, I'll be there. I'm the one who was there, who streamed every day for people's mental health during CV19 because I knew how they were feeling. That is me. But there's other channels that'll tell you gold reval that they've started literally in the last couple of months, and they shoot to 40,000 in one quick swoop because they tell you they're going to wake up and 5x your money for you. That's Elon. That's Fantasia. That's bullshit. It's lies. It's absolute crypto moon boy for precious metals. It's garbage. Don't eat garbage. We all like a fantasy. We all like a fantasy. I woke up and there were 3 blondes that were all 19 years old with double Ds, all trying to mount me at the same time. Okay, have your coffee and your cold bucket of water and realize you woke up with a hard on. That's all that happened. Nice dream. Okay, carry on. Right. Okay, gold is your weapon of choice, but you're not going to get a gift on that from them. It will be the last and the slowest thing to realize, but when it comes, it will be disorderly and it will go wild, but they will come for you with it. It's the beginning of the battle, buying gold. It's not the end of the battle. It's the beginning of trying to preserve your wealth. It's not the end of trying to preserve your wealth. You are stacked against the system cartel of media, legalese, corporatocracy, governmental, quangos, trusts, well-funded, absolutely weaponized against despiriting you, making you weak of mind, throwing porn at you, and making you weak of heart, throwing financial shock and awe to make you weak of pocket and to break your character. And I'm here to tell you, you're in a battle for your life and your existence, and it's okay. You were born for these times, but know the full truth, the hard truth, and prepare for the fullest, hardest truth, because it's coming at you hard, 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 whether you can see it already. Everything I forecast happens. Everything in terms of total Marxist totalitarianism, creeping surveillance, privacy stripping is coming. Everything. And we keep riding that trend because known supremacists will keep turning the screw until they have the ultimate power over life and death over you. So here we go. We'll leave elongated muskiness and selling the dreams of long life on high income for all. Everybody's going to be equally rich, all dying, rolling in income. Imagine that. Sustainable abundance. Abundance forever. What an absolute fairy tale spinner. As long as the world has existed, there's been breadline, poor, and extreme wealth. And they've always wanted it that way, and they're always going to keep it that way. A couple of hard truths for you. They will also never let you have your own money, Bitcoin maxis. They will never, ever let you have your own money. Get it into your stupid, thick head. Just like they're not going to be spending and investing in keeping you awesome and long life on this amazing super health service that Elon's spilling you, and then giving you the money to pay for it all. No, no, and no. They've never been benevolent. They've never been generous. They've never been kind. They put you on the wrong end of a tertiary extraction system so that they could strip you and loan shark against you, be predatory towards your children, and continue to ride and live off you in every single way. Let's look at platinum, and then we can talk about anything else you want to talk about. This was a good break. That was your super surge. We've had a pullback now since we made interim level 2, and now you're getting a weak bounce. In the end, once this goes, I expect this to outperform gold and silver. And many people will say, why silver? Silver's so low, it should go to 400 or 500s. I think it will. I think I'm the biggest bull silver, but I think this is the cheapest gold you can buy. It's almost a third of the price. It's about 40% maybe of the price. In fact, you will get more platinum ounces, and the need for it is still there, and it's exceedingly rare, and they just don't have it in London anymore. They just don't have it. They just don't have it. There is none. Virtually there's none. And they will be utilizing price movements, and we have a target of already 1640, that when this resumes, you will be next up there. And then we have further targets. Let's show you those other targets on platinum. Let's just make sure, whoops, we're in the wrong one. Let's go here, platinum, and put it in. We'll show you those further targets, which are just in between targets onto a journey that will see it go a lot higher than gold in absolute price. So there's a 3,000 target. We were covering this in the community recently. They were going over it with me. I'm thinking of substituting some gold, some more gold for platinum ounces. This is it. That's your double bottom. Real support there. That's your 1337. You had a dip down to there. Then you have the spiky bum, and then the rounded bum. And then you had the super spike to the neckline. That was support for a descending triangle of long standing that once you broke, you fell away real hard. That double bottom, and I call it a double bottom by name only. It's a little bit unique. It's kind of a triangle low bottom with a rounded bottom. This was, of course, an HVF in there that has a target somewhere up here, which will be part and parcel of making that 3,000. And then we have 6,500 and more and more and more. So platinum, preferably the coins. I see Joe Potter, Costco had 1 ounce platinum bars earlier this year. Buy all you can because they're virtually unobtainium now. But if you can get coins, even better. Eagles, or sometimes the Canadian maples are cheaper on platinum, quite a bit cheaper. So do those if you can. So very big move, and it was completely lagged and crushed here because palladium was doing this during this period. There was substitution going on. So everyone who says, oh, platinum's garbage, there was a very unique once-off moment. Palladium is now within a couple of $100. It's about 80% of the price of platinum. At one point, it was when platinum was north of thousands, palladium you could get for a couple of $100. Okay, complete inversion. So palladium caught right up to platinum. That card's played now. That card is played now. There's no substitution. And it was also the diesel to petrol. I'm going to go buy myself a big ass, long, made to last forever, stinky turbo diesel 4x4, old clunky car. I'm going to look like a poor man and I'm going to love it. The car that will run forever. Not for me, the rectally burning battery vehicles. I bought a couple of platinum koalas. Good stuff. Brendan Edwards. I'm not sure why, buddy. Think there is a vote, Dominion machines, where $1 billion solution to solve the problem of voting. You appreciated the Q-Bike ride commentary. Glad you enjoyed, Dave. Thanks for the follow. Hit the bell so that you never miss. Matt Parker's enjoying. Hydrogen market should push it up. The cloud pivot economy. Yes, indeed. Platinum goes up after Putin no longer has to pay for war. Possibly, yes. Russia is 15%. It's certainly a swing producer in platinum. It's not the major producer, but it's the second biggest by a long way. 10K gold, only 100 ounce will make you a millionaire. Unfortunately, that million in dollar terms, a millionaire isn't big beer nowadays, guys. I'm sorry to tell you that. You want to aim, I don't know where you start. We all have different start points, but aim for 10 to 25. That's my take. You might be able to keep a few wolves at the door, but hey, if you're starting at 10 grand and you get to $250,000, you've done great. Remember, it's what you do with the talents. Some people get given 10 and some people get 1. If you 5x your 1, you've done great. But keep going. Don't stop there. I don't think any of us have got to the point where Satoshi lives in zip code 22101. I can't wait to sue government. The Eminem of the financial world. It is up to us to fight back, says Ken. You're right. Wessex Badger. I don't use Facebook, nor X or any other social media with obvious exception. Okay, good, guys. We thought we'd check in with you on Tuesday. What's the key takeouts? Executive summary time. Let's give it and just do the quick recap so that you know exactly what you watch. Because sometimes you can watch, you can be entertained, and then you can go, what am I doing? What was the summary? So here's the exec summary, and then we're closing down. Debt-based collapse, contagion is being seen in the charts. We are short British debt, okay? Rates are going to climb on the long end, regardless what happens in terms of September. So if you think the central bank has set rates on the long end, you're wrong. You're going to see clear proof of that. We started right there with the British debt and the US debt. We showed you an upside setup on the US 10-year. By the way, we also highlighted previously that when you had the tariff tantrum and you had the shaky Jake moment over here, that you never went back. When Donald Trump scared the bejesus into everybody, rates were down here, you spiked to there, you've never gone back. Even though you're on the 10-year, you're still 50% higher than the low. And if we take that to the longer end, it gets worse. You set up to go higher on your longer end. Everyone is expecting, the markets are communicating to you that we're in hyperstagflation and the asset is undesirable at its current yield, therefore it's being sold off. That means the value is going down. There's the same spike. You're not here. You're almost as high as the spike high. That was the spike high. The candle bodies were around there. And that's where you are right now. Bang. You held on to most of it. After a reaction down, you actually made a new high. And now you are winding up. We showed you that HVF. So number one summary point. Do not be in debt. You're going to face higher interest rates and our worldview. On our opinion to ourselves on a non-advisory basis. Do not own bonds. Again, our view for our own consumption, not for anybody else. Do your own research. Bonds are going to devalue really badly. Fiat devalues with debt devaluation. The two Siamese twins conjoined at the head. You don't drown the debt twin and not drown the fiat twin by the same degree at the same time, by the same amount. It's geometric. It's money is borrowed into existence. The destruction of debt is the destruction of currency. If you have a 55% destruction of the debt market, your buying power is down by the same amount. Doesn't matter what it's done to the euro, they are equally bad and affected too. Don't watch other currencies. Watch your debt debasement to understand your fiat debasement. Watch gold to get a second opinion on the debt debasement. So your things you watch for your loss of value is TLT and XAU. Divide your current wealth and number. You're not as rich as you think you are. You're probably richer pre-subprime and pre.com for all you've been earning, because they've been debasing you. Divide it down to gold ounces, keep dividing by the loss in the TLT, the inverse of the TLT, and you're barely standing still. That's what they're doing to you. It's all taxation. And then they're going to come with capital gains. You have to prepare for that. If you do not have structures, if you do not have other nations, if you do not have multiple jurisdictions, if you do not have rights to remain or residency elsewhere, you are going to be gang raped by your original government. That's what Bolsheviks do. They strip you out. They take your stuff. They make you into a forced seller, and then proxies like BlackRock, Blackstone, Vanguard, State Street are sitting there ready to buy houses, entire regions, and properties at dirt cheap bottom prices to get the appreciation. They're pulling frauds. They will sell one property from one half of their business to the other at a very high rate and get cheap borrowing to build all the others and say, here's our comparables. All forms of fraud to create entire developments of Blackstone-based housing and BlackRock-based housing are being perpetuated unimpeded by any SEC, unhassled by any government agency for their conduct. You're seeing NVIDIA selling chips fake that they're supposed to not be selling, and they're being exposed, and Bloomberg is trying to crush a channel of gamers that are exposing this. Everything they do is fraudulent, and it's a two-tiered system where there is no justice for their actions. It is all justifiable to the cult that are making hay while the money shines, that are stripping the assets off and stealing. And if you do anything like taking normal behavior, but you don't do it in a very, very close manner with regards to the law, you will feel the full force of the law. It's two-tier policing, it's two-tier justice, it's two-tier equity market, it's two-tier crypto market with the statist appointed coins. It's two-tier everything. It is a polarizing event, as we told you in 2017 on Greenwich Hill. That is your summary. You have work to do. You don't own enough gold ounces. You don't own enough silver ounces. You don't own enough platinum ounces. And you haven't done enough in terms of structures to save you from the attack vector, which is your particular nation state government. That is your first and foremost. Government is your enemy. The banking system is part and parcel of that government system. It is the tentacles of an octopus that is there to consume you. You need to rage against that machine. You need to move to smaller countries, get residencies in smaller countries with better deals and no capital gains taxes. You need to have coins. You need to have all forms of precious metals. These are the key messages that we are giving you. Click the link, book a call. It's time you joined a community of reset-aware people. No gaslighting from normies and morons. No idiots that think Elon's going to save them, or Trump's going to save them, or Vance is going to save them, or Newsom, God forbid, will save them. There's nobody who thinks any political voting is going to save them in our community. They all recognize that it's come down to you, and the Marxists are marching. You have to get self-reliant. You need friends. You need the right kind of neighbors that won't be ratting you out. You need to take action. You need options. You need optionality worldwide, because even though all major nations are contaminated, they're contaminated to different degrees in different ways, and they have different legal systems. You need to get aware of that and how you can use those same systems and tools that are protecting the very Marxist, corporate, fascist organizations and legacy families that see themselves as supreme over you and as an ant farm that they want to stand on. That's how you do it. The markets are talking to me. Rates are going higher on the long end. Japan, Germany, US, UK, across the board. It's a debt-based collapse, as we called it 5 years before anyone else. And that's why gold will go up. That's why you keep stacking, but you need to do more than that. Thank you for watching. Hit the like and the share. It's important material that we need to get out. You need more people aware so that it's easier for you to build community. Getting our message out makes more people aware, makes more people on the same page as you. It serves you. Help me help you. Remember the scene, Jerry? Help me help you. The agent for the footballer, only I wouldn't ever want to be Tom Cruise. Help me help you get that stuff out. Share it to 3 people that are halfway to understanding the way the world works and ask them to share it. Let's go viral. Let's get your friends and family thinking like you. Let's make your job easier to win or to preserve some wealth and have real optionality. Let's get cooperatives going. The next stage of action is absolutely required. With that, I thank you. This is just a body. We are having an experience. It's a short one. It's one life. Make the most of it. Live, enjoy. Don't be bummed out. Have fun. Dance, love, kiss, swim, cold plunge. Look after yourself physically so that you remain strong. You need a strong mind. You need a strong body. You need it all to be strong. And we will see you on the other side on our next stream. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye for now.